Hi, this is Papple, and you're watching PapplePlays. For the second episode on this channel, we're gonna be continuing from where we left off last time. I'm gonna start from stage 3 today, and let's just get into it. I'm gonna go see if the cheats are on. I'm gonna on them. I'm gonna set the settings according to the settings last time that I set. I'm gonna do that. See if everything's okay. We're gonna go to the load game, go to rebellion, and that's the start of stage 3 for us. So I was playing as Shiva last time. I'm gonna continue playing as him, and there's gonna be a lot of fails in this particular gameplay because I don't play well. I'm not a pro in this game, and I'm still gonna play it. I love it. So last time we talked about how the game has been developed, and I didn't talk much about how the models of the game actually made differences to the graphics. I think that the graphics, in my opinion, the graphics are really nice and they look really realistic when you can see. And the hits and the attacks, they look really nice, look quite realistic. Overall gameplay experience is really nice. The game actually works on its standalone software. I believe it's called Ultimate Streets of Rage 2X emulator or something along those lines, and it plays really well. And the system that I'm using to play the game and to do the recording is not a very good system. Like, it's not very high class or really dedicated gaming system. It's just a simple Windows 10 64-bit running system with an 8 GB RAM, and it's a locally manufactured laptop that I'm using. So according to the features that this laptop has and the number of times that it helps and it disturbs my work, if I compare it with playing the game and with my gaming experience, it works really well. So I'm glad that the system can handle the load of the game, and the mod is developed with that kind of emulator or that kind of software that even a mediocre PC or a mediocre system such as mine is can handle, and it can work well without breaking the graphics or breaking the game overall. So here I'm going to choose if I should go to Streets of Rage 3 route or Streets of Rage 2 route. I chose the Streets of Rage 2 route because I hate going towards Streets of Rage 3 route for this stage. It takes me to the point where I have to break the walls, and there's a tractor chasing us from behind, and if you don't break the wall in time, you're gonna get hit and it drains half of your energy. So because I'm not playing this really well, I'm gonna take the safer route. Call me a coward or whatever you want, but I'm gonna take the safer route. So how was your day going? Do comment and let me know how your day went and how you liked the previous episode of the game. I'm gonna get hit a lot of times, and these particular enemies, I hate them because when I'm doing a counter attack or a rising attack, they do their attacks and we fall down. So this was a good time to use a rage attack. The very first time that I used a rage attack, where I was proud of using it, and I didn't vehemently said that I wasted it. No. In this episode, we're gonna see that, for example, right at this moment, a lot of enemies are gonna spawn, and they're gonna rush you, and you won't be able to see your own character. There'll be so many enemies on the screen, and it will be hard for you to beat them all at once. I never played Streets of Rage 1 or Streets of Rage 2 in their entirety. So when I first played this mod, it was really exciting for me, or it was really interesting for me to see all of these new landscapes and all of these new graphics, because I really didn't know that Streets of Rage 1 and Streets of Rage 2 have all these beautiful scenes, and these were set in different settings. I've just played Streets of Rage 3, the original Streets of Rage 3, in its entirety, and I know that both the good ending and the bad ending to that game, because the story of SOR 3 goes as, if you save the police officer, the police chief, I believe that is, if you save him, you'll you'll go to the good ending, and if you don't save him, you'll go towards the bad ending. And because at one point, when you go to that chamber where the police chief is held, uh, after the timer runs out, there'll be toxic gas released in that chamber, and the chief of police would die if you don't save him in time. And if you save him in time, that will lead you to the good ending. And in the bad ending, the police chief, Shiva actually disguises as the police chief, to give a press conference or a press release against Axel, I believe, and to uncover the truth, your character goes to the White House or Prime Minister's house, I don't know what that's called, wherever the press conference is held, and you go to that house and you expose Shiva. You get to defeat Shiva there, but that leads you to the bad ending, which is the explosion. And I think that's how SOR 3 ends, if you don't save the police chief and if everything goes south. So I hate this enemy. I've said this enough times, and I've said this in the previous episode as well. I absolutely detest this enemy, and this time I got lucky because I could use some good attacks to damage him. And at times where my character just stops midway and doesn't do anything, that's where I'm trying to press all the combos, all the rage attack combos for him, and it doesn't work sometimes. So still we get to beat him, which is the important part. This stage, I believe, is actually it's like a cave or something where you go and you see that Mr. X has planted all of his weapons, and he's like up to something, like he's doing something which is like what you call as biomedical engineering or something, where he's making cyborgs, using humans to incorporate some cyborg things to them, or incorporate some mechanisms to make them cyborgs. So the enemies that pop up on the screen are like more vicious, they're more strong, they're stronger, and they hit you hard because they've been modified that way to be the bulk part of you. So because I have not played Streets of Rage 2 myself, I don't know what this specific place is called and why it's here, and the story behind it, I don't know about that, but I'm gonna look into it because that's gonna be interesting to know how this specific setting came into being. And that's another essential rage attack because it drained a lot of energy for the enemy. And the reason why the enemy is not like coming towards me that viciously as it should is because I've set the difficulty to normal mode. I don't like playing in hard mode or in mania And this mod is actually designed, it has three difficulty modes, normal and mania. So you can play in hard mode, normal mode, mania, and in mania you won't be able to see your character. And as you can see on the screen, there are a lot of enemies that you can't even see where you're going or who you're grabbing and who you're attacking. They're just gonna drain all of your energy without you even realizing that you're at the end of your rope. So in mania you're gonna experience that kind of rush from the enemies in all of the levels, in all stages. And the reason why I hate that specific setting is because I like to see my character move, and I like to see where he's going and what attacks he's doing. So if there's a lot of enemies on the screen, no doubt it's good to beat them up, and like it's fun to beat them up and use all of your attacks, but it makes it difficult to see where your own character is going and what he's doing. And this enemy was also new to me because I was actually surprised to see this particular enemy. And this is a perfect embodiment of the concept that Mr. X is up to something, that he's modifying his subordinates to some superficial extraordinary beings that are like cyborgs or something. So this enemy's name is Tracker, and he can shoot laser beams at us, and he can actually use a beam cannon or something as his rage attack, which we are not really interested in seeing. So that's the third death in this game so far, because in the previous episode we saw two of them, and this one is the third one for us. So with that out of the way, I actually tried to stay away from the enemy because I didn't want to get hit a lot of times, and that's why I just kept running away and I just kept like away from the enemy. And that's that for this stage. Shiva wins another day. Not necessarily, but we all know what that means. Moving on to stage 4. So we were in the park, Disneyland. Then we went on to a secret hideout or a secret cave with a lot of tubes and with a lot of scary stuff, and a cyborg that tried to kill us, and it did kill us once. And now we're back in the park. We're now back on the street. And I hate the fact that if the enemy is too close to you, your character is gonna automatically grab them, and the enemies from the other side would just start punching you and they'll start beating you up, and you won't be able to do anything unless you use your super attack or the extra attack you have. Why did I leave that? I didn't open that bin. Why did I leave that? Anyway, so it's not like that we have less power, but still. So my strategy whenever I grab an enemy and I see other enemies popping up behind me, I try to throw them to the other side and deal with the other ones that are behind me. So that was an excellent evade, and I wasn't expecting that I would have evaded that, but I did. Now the screen lock thing, or the screen edge locking, enables me to just pin the enemies to the edge so I can like kill them over there before them rising or even doing anything. The juggle system makes it easier for me to drain their energies much faster than I would have done if the juggle system is not on. And this particular level is really interesting for me. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, kudos to the developers who made the graphics so realistic, and like you can see the screen behind, and you can see how your character is moving and how the enemies are moving and stuff like that. Like that is development. Like you can incorporate that kind of stuff in a 2D game. It's really interesting for me to see. And the screen behind reminds me of that Gru's sentence from Despicable Me, where he says that we stole the Times Square Jumbotron.
What did we do? Well, we stole the Times Square Jumbotron! Nice! That's how I roll!
And he feels so proud on that, and all the minions then cheer him. That screen actually looks like the Times Square Jumbotron. So now that in cases like that where two of the enemies just popped up on either side of my character and I had to use special attack, it actually drains energy. So I actually don't like that, because my character would just grab the enemy on one side and the one who's on the other side would just come up to me and beat me like a pulp. The evasion system for the enemies is really developed in this mod, I believe, because the enemies would just run around or they'd move around when you're using your special, and they'd avoid your special attacks. Now there is a charge system in this game where you can use the charge attacks when you're holding down your attack button. I really don't understand how that works yet, because it just happens. I really don't do anything for it. It just happens when you hold down your attack button and you're like casually attacking the enemy, and you press down the attack button enough times, it will automatically lead to a charge attack, which would be your running special attack, along with the usual attacks or the usual punching attacks you're doing. So that's a really interesting thing. Wherever you have enemies that are that are rushing you, for example in this particular level, you can use those charge attacks to your advantage. But because I'm not that much familiar about that, I just do whatever comes into my mind, and I just press the button a lot of times to get the enemies to their zero health. But I really enjoyed playing this level because there were so many enemies and you get to beat them in such a confined space. You can use your special attacks without the fear that you will be wasting them. I didn't actually use any rage attacks because I thought that the enemy healths were not worth it, that I could easily defeat them by using my usual attacks. So I just did that, and that level was over. Then for this enemy, I was so confident that you'll see next why I was so confident, and I wasted my super attack there, but I still did quite a bit of damage with my usual attacks and running attacks there. Now I don't understand, and I have seen this in other gameplays and in this one as well, that when you hit the enemy, they're gonna flash green, and I don't know if it's their own charge attacks that has been set to getting hit, because in some games when you get hit, your character gets charged or something, and I feel like that's the same case here as well, but I didn't look into it and I don't know if that's actually what it means. So for this boss as well. I kept running around because this boss actually beats a lot. He gives so much damage like that, and I wasn't expecting to die there. It was so unexpected, and I had my food right there. I could have like refilled my health bar, but I didn't, in the hopes that I would be able to defeat the enemy like that. But he just unexpectedly used a rage attack on me, and there was the fourth death. Yeah, fourth death of this gameplay so far. Now, if you select this character, Abadid, I'd call that. I'd pronounce it that way, Abadid. If you choose him as a playable character and you play as him, when you run around, the screen shakes. Like, it is said that Abadid is actually a modified human being set out by Mr. X, and he's an experimental human being by Mr. X, with an inhuman amount of power and inhuman strength, that when he walks on the ground or when he runs on the ground shakes. So that actually is portrayed by how the screen would shake when he runs. Other than that, these fat enemies, or the ones I'd call the bulkier enemies, in Streets of Rage 3, if you try to like throw them to the other side, your character would fall down. And for Shiva though, this is not true. Shiva can throw enemies on the other side without falling himself in Streets of Rage 3 as well. So defines how Shiva is so powerful and how he has so much strength that he can throw the enemies to the other side no matter whatever weight they are, no matter how much bulky they are, and still get no damage or he won't fall down. I believe that that's the case for Adam as well. Adam can throw the enemies to the other side without falling down. In this mod, I've seen all of the characters can do that, but I am unsure about Axel and Blaze. I'm sure about Adam, Shiva, and Skate, that they can throw the enemies to the other side without falling down. Skate can do that in SOR 3 as well, I believe. Now for the enemies or the enemy types who dodge so much, I absolutely hate that they can dodge the rage attacks as well. And that actually wastes all of my stars. And it gets really hard for me to like give them any damage using either my special attacks or my rage attacks, because they're just gonna dodge everything. They're gonna block everything. And that is disturbing. It annoys me so much. Plus the side enemies that pop up is always annoying for me because, as I said before, I get distracted. And the character would just grab them and all the attention is for those enemies who he grabs. So the best thing I could do here was to grab him and continuously just beat him until he's dead or defeated. Now, I was supposed to end at stage 4, after stage 4, but I kept playing, and I think that I wanted to record this particular stage because I love the music that this stage has. And at this level, it's called Slow Moon, and I don't know if the actual Streets of Rage game has the same music or the same music type, because of course the music is the same, just with a little bit of modification from the bass and a little modification to the symphony, but I believe the base game has same music. It's called Slow Moon, and it's actually my favorite music from the whole game, and I really love it. I enjoy the music a lot. I've actually downloaded the audio file for this music, and I listen to it whenever I feel like I should be listening to something that's relaxing. So even if I defeated the main character or the main enemy, I still get a lot of side enemies that I have to defeat. So the arrow pointed to the right. I'm not gonna go to the extreme end because a lot of other enemies would pop up, and I'm gonna end the episode right here. I hope you guys like it. Just enjoy the music in the background, and I'll see you in the next one.